Thank you for being here for SPAR's Beyond the Stats podcast with Susan Mall and Chelsea Erickson. And I'm Jennifer Kovacic, Communications Director here at SPAR. And we are going to be talking May 2024 Twin Cities housing market stats. And before we kind of get into our questions and some remarks that I know we've all been thinking about, I'd love to just hear, what are you seeing? What have you been seeing the last month? What is the pulse out there in the market? And I'll ask you, Chelsea.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. What is the pulse? Well, as it sits right now, we're about halfway through the market. I'm looking at it, and it's been very active, if you will, from both buyers and sellers. I think the stats are showing us an increase in listings, and I would concur with that. I know in my own personal book of business, year to date, we've had an increase in the number of home offerings available in our market. So, we've got some creative buyers out there, some creative sellers out there. Everybody's still, owning a home is still a very popular thing to do. So I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, good. We're going to delve into all of that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Susan, do you want to start with any comments?
Yes. Thank you for having us here. And same thing, I am seeing the exact same thing. There's still a lot of properties on the market. It is still a hot market. Homes are not staying on the market as, staying on the market long. But they're still, depending on if it's priced right, they are going. So we're still having that problem.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, you both alluded to this. There are more homes on the market today than there were a year ago. Mm-hmm. In fact, the number of homes for sale rose more than 15% since this time last year, which has resulted in the highest number of active listings since 2020. And this trend might seem like we're turning to a buyer's market, but statistics show that we're actually still in a seller's market. In fact, except for homes that are priced $1 million and above, every price range remains a seller's market, with sellers receiving strong offers. I believe it's over 100% of their offer right now, or very close to that, in a relatively quick time frame. So I know you both alluded to this, but I'll ask again. And Chelsea, I'll start with you again. Does this statistic about a seller's market mirror what you're seeing? And can you expand on that a little bit more?
Absolutely. We are seeing an increase. I know you mentioned a seller's market versus a buyer's market. Just to clarify that anytime we have inventory that is on the market for less than 6 months, it's still considered kind of a seller's market. Once we hit that 6-month benchmark, it's more neutralized, and beyond that, it then becomes what we call a buyer's market. So absolutely, I am seeing homes on the market just a titch longer than about a year ago. But there's still, true story. I have a home on the market. We were on the market for 18 days, which seems like forever in this market right now, but 18 days, and suddenly one offer came in and two offers came in. So we ended up in multiple offers at an 18 days on market standpoint, which it was new and exciting and interesting, and something I hadn't experienced before, because usually my multiple offers take place in those first 5 days. So
what do you think was the delay?
A new thing. Well, I think when a home, you alluded to, Susan, homes being priced right. I mean, if a buyer sees a home, it's priced right, it looks like a great value, they're going to take action very quickly. Mm-hmm. If they like it, it seems like a good value, maybe the condition isn't exactly what they were thinking, and so they need more time to process that, and then maybe take a look at it a second time, or maybe even a third time. That's happening as well, but it's that processing time before they take action. I think if the immediate attraction and value isn't there, and they might want to shop all the other options and come back, that's then when you'll see them rebound and then be ready to take action once they've chewed on it a little bit. How's that sound? Mm-hmm. But a good value is going to be more of an immediate response, I think. That's my personal opinion.
That must have been a fun surprise, not only for you, but for the sellers.
For the seller, absolutely.
I know,
absolutely.
I know. And sometimes getting the sellers to price the property at market value is pulling teeth sometimes, don't you think? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to educate some of my sellers to do that. And some of them are hard. Some of them think they have a diamond in the rough when it's actually just.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. I'm working on that to get them to understand that the market is what the market is, and the buyers determine the market most of the times. You
Buyers
know,
do
so-
determine it, yeah. And you can even tell the seller that they are the highest bidder on their property right now
Yes.
if it's priced too high.
Exactly. I'm working on that actually. So yeah. So. Yes.
Well, we're seeing both activity, growth in both listings
both.
and sales compared to 2023. Seller activity is up about 15%. Buyer activity is up about 5%. What kind of activity would you say you were experiencing? Again, we're looking at May 2024 stats. So activity late spring and into summer where we are now, was there a little bit of a shift? What are you seeing or experiencing?
Well, I was looking, when you asked that question, I was looking at my numbers from last year and then comparing them, the numbers from this year, and it's showing that activity is up 75% this year over last year. So I think, there's just a lot of opportunity out there. People move for all sorts of reasons. We have... people are getting married, people are getting divorced, unfortunately, but it happens. They're having new babies.
Yes.
They're some people are passing on, and then we're dealing with families that need to sell their family houses. So there's just all sorts of life-changing things that happen in our industry that create people desiring to move. So whether it's their choice or not their choice, that's why they need good guidance from us, right, Susan?
Exactly. I have a lot of move up buyers in the market. I have a lot of people moving up from their properties that I've sold them a bit earlier on, and I have a lot of people that are moving because of babies, as we said. So I have a lot of those buyers that are coming into market right now, so which is exciting. People moving out of rentals into properties. So I have that a lot, and I think that's really great. So it's a great thing that's happening right now. So getting those type of buyers moving out of apartments and into properties, into homes.
Yeah, that's
So,
really great and
yeah,
exciting.
It's exciting. Getting them into that's a really good thing at this point in time in their lives. So, yeah.
What are some of the ways that you're guiding these buyers, step-up buyers in the process?
So they're... getting them into that, getting them excited about that is telling them, getting them into pre-approval, getting them excited about it. Oh, they have saved enough money to put a big down payment. And I'm surprised that they all have, I want to save enough where I can have a big down payment. But I explained to a lot of them that they don't need a big down payment, or I would show them that use a down payment assistance program. I have one lady that she's doing the first generation program, and that's so excited that she is first generation and she's getting that for her family, and that's an exciting thing. There's a lot of programs out there for first time home buyers, and I'm getting all of those.
So you're making me curious. Are your buyers or clients coming to you with information or seeking information about the programs, or are they unaware that they exist and you're bringing the programs to them?
One lady that she knew about it she heard about it and told me about it, and I told her to send her to her lender, and they got pre-approved with it.
That's great.
So, and then a lot of them, I educate them and tell them, well, hey, there are first-time home buyer programs out there. If you want to get into a home and you need assistance, there's a lot of assistance out there for first-time home buyers, and I guide them towards that. And so they get, pre-approved.
Yeah,
so we can get them into homes. And some of the pre-approval, some of the down payment assistance, as I was told and educated too, that they could be stacked. So a lot of them, hey, it works. Whatever works. As long as they get them into a home and it works. Let's use it.
Well, yeah, there are so many programs, whether it's through different nonprofits offering them or city programs, county programs.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are having some success with that.
Exactly. And whatever works, whatever works.
100%.
Yep.
So, in terms of your clients, how are they, or how can they stand out from others when vying for a property? What are some things that you may coach them on to make them stand out from others in a market that's tighter?
Try not to ask for concessions. Have your own closing costs. And a lot of them don't ask for closing costs today. They have their money saved up or their assistance, so they don't ask for closing costs. And we're able to move forward with the properties without asking for closing costs. So they are accepted without closing costs.
Sure.
Even my VA buyers don't ask for closing costs. And I was surprised, I had a VA buyer that was accepted without closing costs. They were able to be, and some agents don't like to take people because they're VA, but I had a veteran that was accepted, and they were paid all of their closing costs and everything, and they were accepted.
That's great.
So those are some of the things I think stand out. Pay your own closing costs.
What
So
about you?
coaching your buyers to have enough money saved up so they can pay for the costs of their acquisition. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So that, and I've seen a lot when it comes to the inspection of the home. When you're in a multiple offer situation and you're trying to negotiate your buyer to have an inspection, limiting the terms of that inspection, like maybe it's only a sewer scope or only a radon, or just kind of limiting it, because from the seller's perspective, if you have that contingency outstanding, it can totally change the terms of the negotiation at any point. So if you make it like not contingent, or make it just limiting the scope of it to give the seller some peace of mind. If you're in a multiple offer situation, I have had several buyers be able to do their full-blown home buyer inspection when we are not in competition with others.
Yeah.
So when you're limiting the scope of what they might be looking for, how do you guide them with what choice to make, if that makes sense?
Based on their comfort level. So if this buyer is very handy, they may already know what they're seeing. They may already know how to look around the house and look at what they know what they're looking for. If it's a first-time home buyer, I might say, do you have a good friend that's an inspector we can bring through on a walkthrough? Can we do our inspection preemptively before we're actually writing that offer, so that you are comfortable? Because maybe that pre-inspection will tell that buyer that, no, I'm no longer interested. So whatever that we can do to make the buyer, feel like this is a good value, without taking on too much risk for the buyer either.
Right. Another way of
Right.
being a little bit creative up front.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And in this market right now, we've had a lot of rain. Have we had rain?
We had tons
We've
of
had
rain.
a lot of rain.
Some pumps have been
Some
working.
pumps have been working, and
over
basements
time.
have been flooding. We've had a few that have not kept the water away, so we get water in the basement. We had an inspection happening, a full-blown inspection, and the inspector suddenly was blowing up my phone, and I was in the middle of another meeting, so I kept sending him to voicemail, and he kept calling. So finally, I'm like, excuse me, I need to answer this call. And we had a flooded basement.
Wow.
He was inspecting a home on behalf of my buyers, and he's like, I can't finish this inspection because I'm not going to walk through all this water, which totally get. So we just had to open up those negotiations again and get some drain tile for them buyers. That's what we
Right,
did. We got
exactly.
them some drain tile.
Yep, and one thing I would never do is advise a buyer not to have an inspection and take a home warranty, because what I found out is that home warranty would not honor a home warranty without an inspection, because if something comes up, the underwriters will ask for the home inspection report. So never go in lieu of a home inspection. Just
Sure.
take a home warranty, because they're not going to honor that. Yeah. So always have that. If you're getting a home warranty, never go in lieu of a home warranty, an inspection.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well, Chelsea, I empathize with your story. We had our house on the market 18 years ago and woke up a morning of a showing and slashed across our wood floors because we had a crack in our dishwasher tub liner.
oh my God.
And it leaked throughout the night. So that was very fun.
Yes, I bet.
Resolved, but, a surprise.
Yep.
So, what kinds of things do you recommend that may shift a perspective to make homeownership a reality, whether this is for a first-time buyer, a step-up buyer, or anybody in life transition? What are just some things that if the market's tough, but they really want to plant their feet and put their, have a sold sign out, what can they do to shift that perspective and make things work out in their favor?
So one of the things I thought of with this question had to do with buyers, someone that really wants to own a home, but maybe as rates are increasing, they're having difficulty. We start to compare what would it cost to rent versus what's it going to cost to buy, and kind of crunching those numbers. And then looking at the type of home that we're purchasing, ultimately I always look at houses from a resale standpoint. So I always want to make sure it's big enough, it's sizable enough, it's functional enough to be resold at a decent price. But also looking at the idea of, hey, would you be open to renting out a portion of your home to create some extra income, some extra cash flow to help make up that difference as well? So whether it's renting out the upfloor, living downstairs, or renting out bedrooms, I call it house hacking, as we discussed before, but figuring out ways to be creative so that you can bring in some extra cash flow. Can I say out loud that we're doing this right now in my home? We rent out the basement through, short-term rental. So it's just ways to bring in some extra cash flow and give people a place to stay that's enjoyable to them. That's something that I've been recommending to my people when we're really crunching numbers and trying to come up with some creative solutions to make housing more affordable.
Yeah.
Well, and it could be a win-win. I mean, you're benefiting, and I imagine so is the renter.
Yeah. And some other ways, if the sellers are up for it, is contract for deed.
Yeah.
There are not many of them, but contract for deed is another option. Help the renter. You become the owner. You're responsible for all of the utilities, taxes, and everything. But the seller is the bank, and you become the owner. You pay everything, and you take the mortgage over pretty much, and you become the new owner. But the seller holds the note for a period of time, and then you refinance it after a while, and you become the new owner once you save up enough money. That's another way of doing it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to consider, especially if the seller doesn't have any debt and maybe they don't want to take all that income in one calendar year because they want to offset maybe any capital gains that might be coming down the pike too. So that's a very good point you bring up, Susan, about contract for deeds.
Yeah, they're making a comeback.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of home prices, May 2024 saw the median home price has reached $385,000. This equates to single-family home prices being $420,000, townhome prices at $320,000, and condo prices at $220,000. And always different factors, location, et cetera, play into these prices, right? What requests are you seeing today that may have varied from just a couple months ago?
Well, I am seeing more inspections. I am seeing that with the less, even though we were talking that there's multiple offers, but if you're in a situation where there is less competition, I am seeing a lot more inspections. We just had a seller in the marketplace take in several offers, more than 15 on a property, and every single one of them had a home inspection except for maybe 2.
Okay.
So buyers are asking for home inspections, and I'm seeing that a lot more than last year.
And more rightly so. You should have a home inspection. I would never advise someone not to, because you never know what can turn up. So yep, I've been seeing that too. And I have had one, and people end up moving in at the cracks that we missed. And they ended up having to do that because we didn't call that during a home inspection. We didn't ask for that. And once they move in, there were cracks in the tub that we didn't see. There was things that we didn't see, and they were having to change a lot of stuff. So yeah, have a home inspection and be very thorough with the home inspection. And I think because most of the time the buyers don't go to the home inspection until the end, and then they walk in and the inspector just go through a few things with them, and we don't go, to the whole entire thing, and then there are things that we miss. I used to go to a lot of my home inspections, and I don't anymore. But then, yeah, we miss a lot of things. And, yeah, the inspector does not call some of the major things. We missed a lot of major things in a few inspections lately. So,
Well, and definitely not ideal to miss.
Yeah.
I'm sure with today's rains or rainy season we're having right now, that probably is prompting some people to think, I want to get things checked out.
for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these numbers that we're talking to are probably resale versus new construction.
Correct. New construction is over 500,000.
Yeah. So in the resale marketplace, that's when we're most concerned with inspections. Although even in new construction, it's still advised to get a home inspection because, there's never a perfect home.
Never.
But it's always nice to know what you're up against.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. And as you kind of just said right now, it is a good reminder to remember that every price point, every market segment and area could be different. Even if there are multiple offer situations, there may be a variety of strategies to try. Do you want to talk about some of the strategies? I know throughout the conversation we've talked about some of them, but are there others that you want to add?
Susan?
Oh, well, let's see here. I was thinking.
Well, and I had jotted down, and it had everything to do with inspections, strategizing over inspections, limiting them or making it non-contingent, as a buyer trying to attract seller and being creative that way. As a seller trying to attract a buyer, some creativity is offering a home warranty,
Home warranty,
right?
exactly.
Give that buyer peace of mind in their first 12 months of ownership.
Yep.
And there is, what other could be some other incentives? Maybe offering closing costs, offering some closing cost or some seller concessions to help the buyer have less costs at closing, or even help them buy down their interest rate to
Right.
make the home more affordable for them. So those
a
are
good
all
idea.
things that I've
That's a
seen a lot lately, or is top of mind because we've been implementing.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with the rates so high. And rates have started to trickle down.
Now
a
let's
little
be
bit.
careful there. They're not so
They're
high.
not high. No, they're not. Actually, I was about to say they're trickling down a bit. They're going down, and they're being very affordable. They are all-time low. They're lower now. They're getting down. And people are not concentrating on the rates anymore. It's more of their payment, the way they can afford
That's what
the
I've heard
payment.
too.
Yeah.
Their payments,
It's really the payment.
affordability.
Yeah.
So it's not rates anymore, what you can afford payment-wise. So I don't say that anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer COVID rates. That's what I say.
Okay.
So their affordability and payments, what they can afford. So that's what I concentrate on when I'm talking to people about their payments and homes. So, yeah.
You mentioned COVID. I was going to
Yeah.
say we're a couple years past COVID now, right?
Exactly. So I do not.
However, I was going to ask, during COVID, we heard people were wanting potentially to be further away from where they worked because they could do some telecommuting or
Telecommute.
remote work, or they wanted a at-home office or maybe a swimming pool because they were home. Are there things in today's snapshot in time that you're seeing people request that is a little bit of a trend?
Well, I think people are still doing the work from home. I think
Yeah.
that part of COVID has transpired. Even into our real estate closings, we're still keeping buyers and sellers separate
Yeah.
at the closing table. So when it comes to housing, I'm seeing a lot of people wanting that work from home space. Have a home office.
Yes.
Make sure it has good internet.
Yes.
Who's your internet provider? What kind of internet do we have here? Where's my space for work? Those are very, very prominent right
so
now.
very much potentially a trend to
The
stay.
same.
Yes.
A lot of people
Yes.
do that. Want to work from home. That's going to be a long time. People are going to do that for a long, long time. I don't think anyone wants to go back into the offices.
I mean, we had the capability to do it for many, many years, but it's once they were forced to do it now it's like,
Exactly.
it's kind of nice.
Yeah, people are looking for larger homes still.
Okay.
I think that trend is going to slow down eventually, but everybody wants a bigger home. you know.
I'm seeing the other side. I'm seeing people downsizing a lot too.
Exactly, you know, it happens. I just did a new construction last week, and the home they purchased was smaller than I thought they were going to get.
Okay.
You know, they wanted a larger home, but then they upped for the smaller one.
And it
I
probably met their
thought
needs.
The price was higher than I thought they were going to take, because the location prices were higher, and the home was smaller than the home that they actually wanted
Sure.
to get. So yeah, it's different depending on where you go, but they still wanted that home office with the double doors. You know, so it all depends. It's all relative, and all depends on where you are. So yeah, I'm still seeing the difference. So
It's safe to say there's never really a dull moment in your business.
never.
A lot of surprises.
Yeah, so it all depends on where you are.
Is there anything else you want to add? I know I was going to ask another question about creativity. We've kind of touched on that a little bit throughout, but I always think the creative focuses are fun, and I think something that other realtors who might be tuning in can learn from.
You know, one of the things I jotted down when we were talking about how buyers can stand out, I had made a note that they can stand out on favorable terms, not on photographs of the family or the love letters. Things like that are big no-nos in our industry. And when I'm working with the seller and those come in, those do not get shared. Those are immediately hidden. So if you're working with the buyer, don't spend time on the, here's a picture of my family and here's my love letter. Here's why you should sell to me, because that in our industry is a big no-no. So just help your buyer work on their favorable terms, much like you said, helping them to be mindful to save up some money to cover their closing costs. Just working on those favorable terms and really being diligent and wise with your resources is what I would add to all of our professional people.
No, I think that's great. And I've heard too, have the house be a clean slate where they can picture their own needs or family there.
Exactly, I always do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Have them see themselves in that house versus the other people. I always have them take all of the personal artifacts out of the property, let those people walk in and see themselves in there and their stuff versus the family. They get too attached. Like I have a family right now, they are so attached to the house right now. I'm like, you're not going to live there anymore. Don't think of it as your home anymore. Think of it as someone else's home.
Pack away those memories and bring them along.
It's no longer your home. Don't be too attached to it because it's going to be gone. Okay? Let someone else enjoy it. So let's get it ready for the other people and let's move on. Okay? So, yeah. So we're getting ready to get another family into this home. So let's do the best we can so we can sell it.
Yeah.
True story. It's a very similar situation. I had a gal, we were selling her, well, she was selling 2 homes to go buy a new home over on the East Coast. They were being relocated. And she had her primary home on the market for sale and reached out to me to help her sell her lake home, her second home. So we were talking about her new home that she'd already has a contract on over on the East Coast. We were talking about her new home and just dreaming about her new home. And then she was really frustrated why her current home wasn't selling, right? So we're talking 3 different homes here. Her current home wasn't selling, and she wanted to show me the marketing of her current home. And I'm looking at the photos, and I just said, why is there this in your photo? Why is this? Well, I have to work there. She had a home office. I have to work there. I'm like, there's too much. Is this what buyers are seeing currently when they're walking into your home? There's too much furniture.
Right.
And much like you said, I had to coach her through. Apparently she wasn't getting this coaching from whoever was helping her on that house, because she said she hadn't heard this before. I had to coach her through removing those pieces of personal property, those big pieces of furniture, so that other people could see themselves living there and remind her that it's not her house anymore. I said, I want you to see that furniture in the new house that's your house now. This one isn't your house anymore.
Exactly.
Take yourself out of it.
Yep.
And within 2 weeks, her home sold. So I don't know if I had something to do with it, but I'm thinking I did.
It's a good lesson,
sure
and I can
did,
see how it
exactly.
maybe isn't always easy,
Right.
especially when you have years and the emotional attachment. But onward and
Yeah.
better
onward.
options going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
it's-
just need that extra push,
Push,
and
yep.
encouragement.
Exactly. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to get rid of it. You need to more emotionally get rid of it too. Get it out of your head.
So, do either of you have predictions for what we're going to see throughout the rest of the summer?
It's going to get really noisy. And I'm not talking real estate. It's just going to get real. I want to help people make their moves now
Yes.
because it's going to get so noisy with this election. I was just
Oh
looking
my
at some
God, yes.
numbers because someone had asked me, is my house value going to fall because of the presidential election? And I was looking at some numbers and I'm like, well, if history's going to repeat itself, let's look at what's happened over the last several, because we have elections every 4 years, right? This isn't totally new.
Right.
But home values typically go up the year after the year of election. And it said that the interest rates, interestingly enough, typically go down right before the election.
Yes.
So I think we're gearing up for a good season. How about you, Susan?
I think so too. That always happens.
Yeah,
So,
Interest rates go down.
you guys are going to be busy.
very much
Value's going to go up. So I think I'm going to take my house off the market for a little while. What? I'm kidding. Let the value go up a little bit. No.
so. Are you trying to sell right now? Or are you being silly? Okay, okay.
not my
You're being
house.
silly. Got you.
I'm on my list. No, I'm not moving.
Oh, that's
Not
too
anytime
fun.
soon. Nope. Yes, but yes, the market's it's going to be a good market. I think it always is around this time.
Well, that's
So,
exciting. I don't know. Do you guys want to add anything else, or do we end on that high note?
I think that's a good note to end on. Although, what about the 4th of July? Do you ever have any lulls in business after the 4th?
I think I take it easy around the 4th, but
Okay.
I've worked around the 4th before.
Yep, that's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. So we're taking it easy around that time, but after that we're going to get busy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another, political year or not, usually around the 4th, people start vacationing. Our home buyers and our home sellers, they're on vacation. They're doing their family time, having a good time, and I don't blame them because this is the season that we Minnesotans live for, right?
Exactly.
So typically, historically, I've seen a lull in July and into August, and then it picks up again once the kids are back in school.
Yep, I have a list and we'll go on the week of the 4th. So yep, I think it's going to pick up right after the 4th.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Good luck with that.
Yep, thank you.
Well, Susan and Chelsea, as always, thank you so much for joining Beyond the Stats, and we'll have you back.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
Thank
That's
you.
great.